At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Well, happy Wednesday morning to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. Coffee with Krueger every weekday morning at 7 a.m. So glad you could join us this morning. And, the big question over the last week or so has been, when can we expect the last triple-digit temperature in the valley for the year? And typically, it's sometime around this time of the year, sometime around mid to late September, sometimes even early October. We've been dealing with the heat wave here for the last couple of days. Temperatures have been over 100 degrees yesterday for most of us in the valley. Not everybody. Chico only got up to 99 yesterday, but the rest of us mainly over 100 degrees. Today, about the same. Now, I am seeing some indication that maybe, just maybe, today may be the last day of the year for many of us in the valley. So fingers crossed on that one, because as we get closer and closer to middle of October, the chances for seeing triple digits start getting slimmer and slimmer, because the latest we've seen, historically speaking, 100 degrees in the valley, especially in Redding in particular, was October 14th. So just going to give you an idea. So that's the record. Right, so for us to even break that record it's a challenge, right? So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Hopefully, that is the last we see of it. I got people already checking in this morning: Lisa, Ruth, Jess Ann, and we've got Fall River Mills, Bill, saying good morning to everybody. So thank you for chiming in this morning. Let's get you to Krueger's Quick Cast. This is just a quick look at the forecast for those of you in a hurry and just want to get out the door knowing what to expect, because you know what? We all know the best and most accurate forecast you'll find right here on Weather NorCal from me, Mike Krueger, the most experienced meteorologist in Northern California. You're not going to find any more higher experience than what you've got right here. All right, let's take a look at those high temperatures we saw yesterday. I did kind of touch on those a little bit. So Chico just dodged that triple-digit mark yesterday, but for all intents and purposes, it was 100, right? 100 degrees for Oroville, 102 for Redding and Red Bluff. Corning was actually one of the warmer spots with a high of 104 degrees. In the mountains, it was warm, but certainly not hot when you compare it to the valley, right? 91 for Chester, 94 in Bernie, 88 for both Alturas and Susanville. Mount Shasta City, about 87. And for the coast, not quite 70, but close, mid to upper 60s for those daytime highs. Let's take a look at the temperatures out there right now. Redding, with the calm winds, actually 59 degrees. But looks like the winds are blowing a little bit for places like Red Bluff, Chico, and Oroville, where temperatures there are in the low to mid 60s. Although I'm going to check something real quick just to make sure. Sometimes, these temperature gauges don't give us everything that we want. So I'm just checking the internet. I'm just going to check that coming in directly from, let's see here. Yeah, 653, calm winds. That's the reason why. But if we go out to Chico, well, let's take a look at the winds. Well, we'll get to the winds here in a second. But the winds are fairly calm there as well. I guess it just depends. All right. Visibility is actually looking pretty good. We do have, looks like a little bit of low clouds out towards the Crescent City area. Taking a look at Elk Country, just north of Trinidad. You can see, of course, we're seeing some pretty nice weather out there, mainly clear skies out there this morning. Let's take a look at Crescent City. Boy, oh boy, this is why cameras are important. This is why human eyes on the weather conditions are important. Technology will only take us so far. Take a look at this image. And then when we look at the visibility coming in out of Crescent City, well, it's got 1 mile visibility. But I see much farther than a mile there. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where you can never just take the observations coming in from an electronic device and go, okay, that's 100% accurate. No, not always the case. So let's take it back to, we'll get back to that. We're going to just get out of this here real quickly. Let's take a look at it. So again, it's showing 1 mile visibility in Crescent City. Now, there may be some spots just outside of Crescent City that may be a mile. I don't know. I couldn't tell you for sure, but I'm not buying that from Crescent City right now. And of course, 10-mile plus visibility in Eureka and pretty much everywhere else. All right, let's get you out the door this morning. We'll call it partly cloudy in the coast, but really mainly clear skies. If we see any fog developing anywhere, it'll burn off very quickly before noon. Otherwise, upper 40s in Modoc County, low to mid 50s in the mountains, and mid 60s, depending on where you are in the valley. Now, there still is a heat advisory until 11 o'clock tonight, with temperatures most likely 100 degrees or higher in the valley. And we take a look at the heat risk. Now, the heat risk, just to kind of give you a general idea of what it is, it's an algorithm that the National Weather Service has worked a long time on. And that algorithm takes a look at the current or the forecast high, right? And the climatological high. That is what's the normal high for this time of the year. The normal high in the valley is somewhere around 86 to 87 degrees. But we're going to be more than 10 degrees above that. In fact, about 15 degrees above that. So even though 102 degrees may not seem hot compared to the 110, 115 plus that we've seen over the summer, why would we have a heat advisory? Well, again, because it's not normal and it's not typical. So the areas in orange indicate a moderate heat risk. What that does, and the definition of that is it affects most people sensitive to heat, especially without proper cooling and or hydration. And the red is major, and that's going to be most people as well. So just something to keep in mind. This is not the Weather Service, doomsdaying things. They're just saying, hey, listen, it's going to be hotter than normal, so be prepared for that. Because, you go out and you work outside. If you're not prepared for it, you got to make sure you got plenty of water, right? And elderly, young children, just be on the lookout. Just watch them, especially if they don't have proper AC and way to stay cool. And your pets, always, right? Remember your pets when you're taking them for a walk. All right, let's get you to Futurecast. And you can see, clear skies for the coast here throughout the day and even into tonight, and clear skies everywhere else. So today, more of the same. We actually may shave off a degree or two for some of the higher elevations, but mainly in the 80s, some 90s in there. Some of the hotter spots in Trinity County, maybe even inland, may touch 100, but we didn't see it yesterday. So most likely in the mid to upper 90s for Trinity County and in the inland areas. And for the coast, most likely in the mid to upper 60s for your daytime highs. And some of us in the valley, you may be able to dodge 100 today, but barely, right? Just like yesterday, Chico did. But temperatures, maybe last time, because look at the trend. You see how we're in the upper 90s, so it's borderline for places like Redding tomorrow. I mean, if we hit 100 degrees tomorrow, I would not be totally surprised, but it's mainly in the upper 90s tomorrow. And then look at the temperatures Friday through Tuesday. Mid 90s for Redding, eventually low 90s by the beginning of next week for places like Red Bluff and Chico. But you can see we're just going to kind of level out those temperatures and should stay below 100 degrees. Now for the coast, mid 60s, give or take for the next 7 days. No big surprises, no big temperature swings there. Inland, you see how we're kind of going up a little bit on Thursday, then back down, then maybe back up. So a little mini roller coaster ride, that is, for the inland areas in Trinity County, at least through the weekend. And then we drop down to the mid to upper 80s for Monday, Tuesday. Taking a look at your 7-day outlook for Mount Shasta, El Terrace, and Susanville, also a little bit of that mini roller coaster ride, but for the most part, dropping those temperatures. Low to mid 80s over the weekend, low 80s by Monday, Tuesday of next week. All right, so that's your out the door forecast. Let's just take a look at today's fire weather risk with the winds. And you can see they're coming out of the north. A little breezy in some spots here. Look at this. As we get closer to the noon hour, we're actually seeing the winds kind of picking up on the west side of the valley. That may elevate the fire weather risk later on this morning and early afternoon. Otherwise, the winds do die down. A little breezy off in the eastern mountains later this afternoon as well. Now, the humidity levels, of course, no big surprises here. We're down to the single digits. But look at this. I stopped it again at 11. See, on the west side of the valley, we're looking at a lot of yellows, even a little painting of orange in there for southwestern Shasta County. It's in the moderate to high range. So again, with those winds elevating and picking up a little bit late morning, early afternoon, that may elevate the fire weather risk. And then we go into this afternoon, and that starts to drop a little bit here. All right, let's take a look at those cameras out there looking at Lake Oroville. This is the live stream here, and it changes camera positions every once in a while, every 10, 15 seconds or so. And you can see just a beautiful sunrise coming out there. Looks like a little bit of a breeze down south in Lake Oroville, but North Forebay, not much of a breeze there at all. We're looking at fairly calm winds. Turning out to be a gorgeous morning, pretty much any way you look at it. We take a look at Highway 99 at Neal Road. Looks like the camera is in motion here, and the traffic is moving smoothly there. How about Highway 99 at Neal Road? Traffic is flowing along there as well. Your typical traffic this time of the morning. Beautiful sunrise, as you can see there off in the distance. Taking a look at Sundial Bridge Drive on Highway 44. Looks like we've got just your normal traffic out there. Again, reminder that I have radio partners. Now this morning, 106X has been off the air, so I don't have an update with them this morning, but Don and Heather in the mornings, and also Steve and Clark, News Talk KQMS. We got a radio update with them as well, do a live update with them on KQMS. So if you can't watch Coffee with Krueger, or you can't watch the latest forecast, you're just in a big hurry, you got to get in the car, whatever, right? You can do that from these 3 radio stations, depending on what time of the morning you are in your car, or maybe at the office, right? All right, before we get to that, let's take a look at everybody, see how you're all doing this morning. What temperature swings? High 30s in the mornings and high 80s, 90s by the afternoon. What fun. I agree with you, Catherine. I mean, so at least, you know, despite the fact that it's hot, at least we do have those coolish mornings and much cooler in the mountains to kind of help recover from this heat, right? Too dark at 7 o'clock in the morning now. Cold and clear in Arcata this morning. Let's get some of you on there let's get those up. There we go. Now we're getting them up. And then Rowdy Kelly is saying, too dark at 7 a.m. now, cold and clear in Arcata this morning. Curtis Brown is saying, good morning. We had 104 degrees in West Red Bluff yesterday. I'm not surprised. You know, Corning was the hot spot, at least that I saw in my temperature readings, 104. So yeah, I'm not surprised that maybe you saw 104 degrees there as well. We have got Delinda saying, good morning, everyone have a great day. Well, you have a great day too, Delinda. And we got Bill Carlton saying good morning to everybody as well. And we've got Jess Norman saying good morning, everyone. It's chilly here in Fall River Mills this morning. That's good. Good. You cool off in the morning, and then it heats up during the day. So at least you have those cooler temperatures to look forward to. We've got Ruth Sanchez saying good morning, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic day. And the first one to chime in this morning, 13 minutes ago when we just started, was Lisa Stevens saying good morning to everyone. So I want to thank everyone for chiming in this morning. And let's get to your forecast, shall we? Your deeper dive forecast. Oh, we got one more. Didn't get a chance to put it up there, but Lori Schaefer saying good morning. Nice and clear in Chester. We'll take a look at that current temperature here in just a second. But first, we need to recognize our sponsors here at Weather NorCal, because without our sponsors, we would not exist. All right, Weather NorCal would not exist. All right, so Coffee with Krueger is made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, temperatures right now, of course, as I was mentioning, we had someone from Chester just chime in here at 36 degrees there. 1 degree cooler in Alturas at 35. Bernie right now, 42. 50 in Susanville. And we've got 64 degrees in Chico. Much cooler in Redding at 59 degrees. Very nice. 44 degrees for Weaverville, 40 in Hayfork, and mid-40s along the coast. All right, here's your headlines. Heat advisory for the valley and foothills until tonight. A gradual drop in our temperatures, but still hot. Yes, as you saw in the 7-day forecast in Krueger's Quickcast, mid-90s after today, really, will level out here through the rest of the week, this weekend, and even into early next week. Highs will be closer to normal near the middle to latter part of next week, and looks like, fingers crossed, we got the potential for some bigger changes near the end of next week. We'll take a closer look at that here in a second, but there are the high temperatures we saw yesterday. 102 for Redding and Red Bluff, but as we saw from Curtis, our weather watcher there, 104 degrees for him yesterday in West Red Bluff. 104 for Corning. Chico just dodging that 100 degree mark, that is, with a high of 99. Although some places around Chico may have seen 100, right? 100 degrees for Oroville, 88 for Alturas and Susanville. 91 for the high in Chester, but we're cooling off in the morning at least, right? 94 degrees for Bernie, mid to upper 60s yesterday for the coast. Now, again, as I mentioned, there still is a heat advisory until 11 o'clock tonight with highs over 100 degrees for most of us in the valley. Not everyone will see 100. I think some of us may just dodge that. And then, of course, for the foothills, we're seeing that as well. So again, remember, the heat risk is just taking a look at what we typically see this time of the year and combining that with the forecast high. So even though 102 degrees, 103, 104 is not the summer heat that we typically see, it's still hot and it still has its dangers, especially those that don't have proper air conditioning or hydration. So just watch out and maybe check on your elderly neighbor, your elderly relative, young children, and your pets. Just make sure that they're taken care of as well. All right, so again, a little breezy out there to the south. That's the reason why the temperatures are a little bit warmer. And I do expect the winds to pick up a little bit later this morning from the northeast on the west side of the valley. This may elevate the fire weather risk here as we saw a little bit earlier, but dying down this afternoon, a little breezy off to the east. And by the way, pretty breezy, especially out towards Crescent City. There's tomorrow afternoon. Winds coming in more from the south, but look at that. We're picking up those winds a little bit here on the east side of the valley and also in the eastern mountains. Not as bad for the coast. The winds may calm down a little bit here for your Thursday. And then for your Friday, look at this. Not so bad for the valley, although picking up a little bit there. We've got some pretty gusty winds entering the picture here for Modoc and Lassen County as well. So now let's take a look at the humidity, because that's another factor we've got to look at with the fire danger. Still single digits today, still single digits tomorrow, but in the mid-teens for the eastern mountains, but still that's dry. And going into your Friday, still looking at very dry conditions as well. So when we combine the heat, the wind, and of course the humidity, there it is, right? There's that late morning, early afternoon. There are those winds picking up. That's the reason why we're in just a little bit of orange in there, right? So that is in the moderate to getting in the high range for the west side of the valley here by midday, right? And then it kind of dissipates and we see those winds die down on the moderate range for the valley, moderate range off in the eastern mountains where we saw those winds picking up a little bit this afternoon. But tomorrow, again, remember we were talking about those winds picking up from the south. That's putting us in the moderate to even high to even very high range, central Siskiyou County. And we saw those winds also picking up in the eastern mountains. That's going to put them in the moderate range. And then we go into Friday, 2 p.m., still in that moderate to high range. And you see how it's picking up in intensity here in the eastern mountains. Remember, we saw those winds picking up Friday afternoon for the eastern mountains. That's going to elevate that fire weather risk as we go through Friday afternoon. So the big picture shows us the ridge of high pressure, but we're not seeing this big, broad, big ridge, right? That's because we've got a storm system here flattening out. So instead of a nice dome of high pressure, it flattens it out. So it kind of does a little this, flattens out and then back down, right? That's the kind of the ridge. So that's moving overhead. That one will be moving overhead as well to our north, and that's going to keep those temperatures from really increasing a whole lot. Now, here's something I haven't been talking about until maybe you watched my 6 o'clock morning update. But when we look at Futurecast, you're going to go, wait, what? Maybe a chance for some rain later this week? All right, let's talk about it here for a second. All right, first of all, today, now what we're seeing here is, of course, clear skies, even for the coast. Tomorrow morning, clear for the coast. Tomorrow afternoon, clear for the coast. Clear everybody else. All right, so where's this rain I'm talking about? Hold on tight. Here we go. Friday. Look at this. We actually have some clouds coming in from the southwest, moving to the northeast. And not only that, Futurecast is picking up on showers. What? What's going on here? And then we go into around the noon hour, still some showers, even picking up on maybe some thunderstorms. I don't think that will happen, but I mean, interesting, right? And look at the added cloud cover too. That's 5 p.m. Then we go into Saturday, that's all gone. So what's going on here? Well, let's take a look at the broad picture here. Here we are today at 6 p.m. We're not really seeing any signatures down to the south, are we? We're not seeing a big area of low pressure. We're not seeing anything like that. However, there is subtropical moisture always pretty much in place. You've got to get something to kind of squeeze out that moisture a little bit here. So what's going to happen is rotation around high pressure. We'll eventually start to see what's happening. We're seeing that subtropical moisture begin to move in. That's for Friday at noon. So that's all coming in from the southwest, moving to the north and east. Could we squeeze out a stray shower if we can get enough instability out there? Sure. Sure, it could happen, but it's not going to be a lot. So if we do see anything, don't count on a lot, but it's not going to be enough for you to cancel any outdoor plans. But interesting nonetheless. And then, of course, by Saturday, it's gone. All right, so here we have the drier than normal conditions in the long range. All right. So let's take a look at the broad picture here. So again, you see how we have that flat ridge? It's not that dominant ridge, right? So just this broad, kind of flattened out ridge of high pressure. So two main areas of high pressure we're watching and have been watching. Desert Southwest, Eastern Pacific. They've been kind of joining forces here. So what's happening is this. As this area of low pressure rises to the north, pushes a little bit more to the south, that ridge of high pressure over the Eastern Pacific, it pretty much dies out. And now we've got more of the ridge of high pressure over the desert Southwest. Now, it's way down to our south and east, but remember we talk about the dome of high pressure, right? The center of that dome is where you have the hottest temperatures. As you get in the outer perimeter of that dome, and the dome is not as high, you still have those hot temperatures, but they're not as hot. So what happens is the dome is centered here. We're in the lower part of that dome, but still it's ridge of high pressure, and it's warmer air. So that's keeping our temperatures above normal. But this is what's helping to prevent this dome from moving any closer to us. The closer the dome comes to us, the warmer the temperatures get. So we go into the weekend, that moves out, and even though we don't have any storms riding to our north, we've got a nice kind of little ridge right here, it's fairly weak. So we're not going to see our temperatures really increase over the weekend, but it will probably stay in the mid-90s for the valley. Then, see this area of low pressure, cold air associated with that, by the way, okay? That's just slowly migrating in our direction. But it's not really having much of an impact on our weather through most of next week. The ridge of high pressure of the desert Southwest still there, not as strong, but it's still expanding into our region, keeping our temperatures above normal. But I'm beginning to see some better agreement between the European and the American forecast model, which is what we're looking at here. That sometime near the end of next week, say around next Friday, maybe that next Saturday, not this Saturday, but a week from Saturday, that this may push through, giving us a chance for showers. Now, the thing is, this isn't the first I've seen it. It's been kind of off and on, hinting at that possibility, taking away the rain, putting the rain back in, taking back the rain. The rain's back in, but now they both agree on that. I haven't seen them both agree at the same time. And it's mainly been the European forecast model. The GFS, this model, hasn't been showing any rain at all for the long range. So now it's beginning to kind of pick that up a little bit here. But those are the bigger changes I was talking about. This would not only bring us a chance for showers by the end of next week, but also significantly cooler temperatures. Now, that all being said, the Climate Prediction Center, at least through October 12th, still has us mainly above normal with those temperatures. But when we look at the trend, and we just take a look at Redding as an example of all of Northern California, because that's the typical trend here. Temperatures for Redding, over 100 degrees today. Then we're down to 98 tomorrow, and then leveling out in the mid-90s through at least Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday, and then a nice bigger dip, right? We could drop down below normal by the time we get to the end of next week. And again, that's when we maybe even see some showers, maybe into that next Saturday. So not this Saturday that I'm talking about, Saturday after that. So you get the idea. Beginning to get a little bit more confidence that this may happen, that at the very least it'll be cooler, and getting more confidence that, you know what? Today may be the last day we see 100 degrees for the rest of the year. You heard me say it right here. It may be. It's not guaranteed. Something could happen in the next 10 days that just comes out of nowhere, right? But seeing some pretty good trending downward here. And as we get closer to the middle of the month, our chances of seeing 100 degrees start getting lower and lower, because as you recall, I've been talking about this the last few weeks every once in a while, is that October 14th for Redding is the latest Redding has hit 100 degrees or higher, historically speaking, both in 1991 and 2012, I believe it was. I can't remember the exact dates, but you get the idea. It can happen. But for us to break that record, it'd be kind of difficult. We'll see. But fingers crossed. Today may be that last triple-digit temperature for the year. All right, so take a look at the wave heights. They're pretty high out there for today. The good news is by tomorrow, those wave heights will start to slowly drop. So we still have that small corrected advisory for today, even into tonight. with those north winds at 15 to 20 knots. Waves from the north at 9 feet at 8 seconds. And from the west at 7 feet at about 14 seconds. All right, let's take a look at your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. There you can see Burnt Ranch about 93, basically mid-90s, give or take, for the Highway 299 corridor. Mid-90s for Coffee Creek and Trinity Center. We take you up to down to the south, that is 91 High and Palm, 87 for Mad River, 90 for Forest Glen and Ruth, about 93. We take you out to the north coast, and there you can see 80 degrees for Red Crest, mid-90s for places like Redway and Garberville. There's Shelter Cove with a high of about 78 degrees. Fortuna, close to 70, around 70 for Hydesville and Rio Dell, and 66 degrees in Ferndale. Up north, 72 for Blue Lake. Mid to upper 90s, most likely dodging the triple digits again for the higher elevations. Higher elevations in inland. 72 degrees for Trinidad and 64 degrees in Eureka. Up north, about 82 degrees for Smith River, 71 for Klamath, at 71 out in Oric, and 81 for Yasky. Let's take a look at that neighborhood forecast for Siskiyou County. Highway 96 corridor, temperatures low 90s. Mid to upper 80s for the I-5 corridor there. We take you out to Scott Valley, about 87. Up and down the Scott Valley, up and down Scott Valley, that is. 87 for Fort Jones, all the way down to Callahan. There you can see out towards McDowell, about 81, but a little bit warmer in Weed at about 84. 87 for Mount Shasta, and low 90s for Dunsmuir and McLeod. Here's your Modoc County neighborhood forecast. 82 degrees for Newell, 86 for Canby and California Pines, 87 for Alturas. And there you can see likely one of the warmer spots at about 88 degrees. Your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast. You can see Bernie about 90. Temperatures actually dropping more, maybe a slight uptick over the weekend, and then back in the low 80s, that is, for Monday and Tuesday. Let's take you to the south. There you can see Lake Almanor, Lassen Park. Chester, you'll see high of 89. The south entrance about 74, a little bit warmer out towards Manzanita Lake with a high of about 80 degrees. Take it to the south, Paradise 97, 87 for Mineral, 92 degrees for Susanville. Doyle about 90 and 84 degrees in Portola. Now let's take a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamith Painting. You know, your temperatures should be mainly 100 degrees, give or take. Some of us might, like yesterday, may just dodge that 100 degree mark. Chico about 100, 102 out towards Red Bluff. Up north, about 102 for City of Shasta Lake all the way down to Cottonwood. 102 for Palo Cedro, 98 for Whiskeytown, and 97 for Lakehead. So let's take a look at that 7-day outlook for Redding. Temperatures upper 90s, upper 90s for Thursday, mid 90s. Basically between 94 and 96 for Friday through the weekend and into early next week. Lovely, lovely. So yeah, I said it. You heard it here, folks. Today could possibly be the last day the valley sees 100 degrees. Tomorrow may be borderline. And when we're forecasting a high of 98, sometimes it can uptick to that triple digit mark. So today most likely, tomorrow maybe, but after tomorrow, we may be in the clear. Now it's still going to be warm, it's still going to be hot. Mid 90s, that's still pretty hot, right? But at least it's not 100 degrees. We got to get past that psychological factor. I think for a lot of people, once you reach that triple digit mark, that's the psychological, oh, it's going to be so hot. But if we can get in the 90s, all right, that's a little bit more manageable. And then after that, end of next week, maybe some low 80s. Boy, wouldn't that be nice? It's October. It's time for the 80s, right? All right. Bieber. In Bieber, we have got a temperature right now of 34 degrees based on by Chris here. So very nice. We got Tracy Sackett saying good morning to everybody. So good morning to you as well. Well, what do you say we wrap things up this morning on Coffee with Krueger and get you ready for the day? Hopefully you were able to get everything you needed out of this forecast. If not, all right, I hope not. I hope that's not the answer. But good day. Make it a great day. Have a great day. Whatever it is you want to use your expression here. Today is Wednesday. It's hump day. We're in the middle of the week. We've got a couple more days of this work week, and then it's the weekend. You know, I'm excited for the weekend. I'm actually going to be going out of town. I'll probably be taking my studio with me where I'm going, and I'll be doing it live. Coffee with Krueger still Monday and Tuesday of next week, but I'll be traveling back home after that. So yeah, just kind of a little teaser on that. Oh, here it is. Again, they're working out on the dam. Interesting. All right, again, that's going to do it for us this morning. We will see you. Be sure to check in your latest forecast, by the way, at noon, 6 o'clock this evening. And then, of course, I'll see you right here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. on Coffee with Krueger. Have a great day, everybody.